it's Desiree, and I am here to close out 2022 with Scrappy Tails Crafts and lots of their products. So first up is the Layering Snowman Duo, and it has a Christmas tree. I'm going to be using the Hot Foil Bold Christmas Sentiments. Now I'm going to be doing that off camera, doing the glimmering foiling there. I'm also going to be using her Slimline Everyday Borders and Slimline Everyday Borders 2. So we're going to use the curvy and the clouds for our card today. I'm also going to be pulling in her embellishments from the red and gold tin that she has available. And I will be using a textured paste. I believe it's by Deco Art, called Snow Tex Paste. So here are all of those little bits, and we are going to start building our snowman. What I do love about her layering dies is it's not so much adding depth and shadows or anything else like that. It's actually using up our scrap pieces of paper, our cardstock that we just cannot get rid of. She provides the base, and then you choose your different colors for the pieces that layer on top. So I just think that is great because you're able to get a dimensional die cut piece by just adding colors to each of the individual pieces. So it's a different way to look at a layering die. And I just love it because you can do some beautiful images by adding all of these layers. And my favorite part is the base. The base has all of the elements that you're building on, so you don't have to worry about a piece falling out or connecting a piece. You're just layering on top, and it just gives it that adorable little dimension. So here I'm just adding my pieces, and again, you can use your scraps because it is so difficult for us to get rid of those scraps. Yes, it is. For me, it is. I've limited myself to a certain size that, you know, usually if it's in the 2" by 2" or the 3" by 3", I won't go any smaller than that. Anything that is smaller than that, yes. I actually have another container for them. I have to admit it. I can't fool you all. And it's good for pieces like this because she adds so much detail. Those little tiny arms for the snowmen, I mean, a very small piece could be used. So that's what's enjoyable about her layering dies. Excuse me. For the present, just die cutting it a couple of times just to give it a little bit of stability when it sits on the card. She also adds details into her dies. So for the trees, there's actually cuts inside of the tree so you can curl up those tree edges to give it even more dimension. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm actually going to layer these two together and then curl up that top part. So by cutting it with the same cardstock, when it's curled up, you're not seeing a different shade. Now, you certainly could use a different shade to have that different color come through. But I think it's a nice touch for the tray. I used gold, of course, for the bow and the star from mirror cardstock just to add that little bit. So now we're going to work on our background. I'm pulling in my Distress Oxides. I'm using first tumbled glass, then I'm coming in with some broken china. Then I'm coming in with prize ribbon. I am not worried about how this looks. I am not trying to blend it. And then finally, chipped sapphire is coming in. I don't need this to be a blend because we are going to douse this. Oh, and I finish up with some Villainish Potion because I just love this color. Yes. And yes, purple can be used for Christmas. Absolutely. Or any holiday. Absolutely. Once this is filled in. I want a lot of color down. Again, not caring how it's blended. I just want a lot of this pigment dye ink down, and now we're just going to soak it with some water. And when you do that, it mixes those lines. It takes away those harsh lines that you have. You'll see as I'm drying this, I show a partial of it, the way that it looks like when it's dripping, when it just looks like this is a snowstorm starting to happen here. And I love that texture that it gives. This is one of my favorite ways to do a background. I'm going to trim this panel. The cardstock that I used was Canson XL Bristol Vellum. And I just take a sheet and I quarter it. And then I'm trimming it down to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It will cover my entire front of my card base, which will be a standard A2 size card. Here comes the blizzard. I'm going to first start with my P.H. Martin's non-bleed watercolor. And then I'm going to come in with some Dick Blick shimmer. It's like an iridescent shimmer watercolor paint, just to add different types of sparkle to the back. Because I added so much water to this panel, I will bring in my U-line double-sided tape. This is a wonderful double-sided tape, and it comes in many sizes, but it is not forgiving. And what I mean by that is, it's very strong. So the moment this paper will touch cardstock, it's down. It's there. It's not going to go anywhere. And I do now have them linked down below. I always forgot to link that. Here is the cloud border and the wavy border, and I'm just layering those. I'm having fun adding the different textures and the different layers for this card. I'm just placing a mark so that I know where to make my cuts. They're still going to hang over the sides, but not as much as they were, so they're a little bit more manageable. And I like to leave that room for error. Something can slip, I could change my mind, whatever it may be, I'm allowing for that room in case I want to shift something. I have a little bit of play, and then I can cut off the sides. And you can see here that's exactly what I did. I'm going to place down my first layer, and my first 2 layers will not have any dimension. They will just be layered on top of the card panel. I'm then going to set the second one, and then when it comes to the top 2, I'm going to add some double-sided foam squares to that. So it just gives a little bit of interest when it comes to the hills. I'm going to take the leftover ink in my brush and just go over the top of these hills just to give them so that they'll stand out off of the panel. As I continue to put the pieces on top, I'm making sure that each layer is visible to the eye. I want each layer to be seen. You also saw that that second layer didn't go all the way down to the bottom, and it doesn't need to. You don't have to make each layer the same size as the bottom. Now, if I did that, I would not add any double-sided foam tape because each of those layers is going to add some dimension. Once all of these are on there, I'm trimming around the side. And then again, going around with the leftover ink on my brush. We are now going to set this onto our standard A2 size card base, and this will be a top folding card. Standard A2 size is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now the fun begins. We get to place our little characters. I think they are just so adorable. and making sure that they're intertwined in the hills, in the snow hills. I want to first get my tree down, but make sure that those, those leaves are coming up over it. Excuse me. And then placing each of our little snow people. I think they are so cute. Yes, I was thinking there for a moment. Just need to add a piece of double-sided foam tape to the back of him so that he'll lay flat. I'm going to place the present right next to our one snow person there. And as I said, I did the glimmering of the sentiment off-site. Not off-site, off-camera. And I chose the Let It Snow, and I used a silver foil on a navy blue piece of cardstock, and I just tore the edges. I love tearing paper. It adds so much interest. Here's this snow tech. Again, I believe it's by Deco Art. I forget where I found it. I found it, though, as I cleaned my room. Yes, as I did that whole room makeover, which you will be able to see. I did do the video of the whole makeover of the room. I will apologize, though. I don't have a lot of pictures from before, and I can't find the footage that I had before. So, yeah, that's fun. But you will notice the huge change if you compare the two videos. So that will be coming in 2023 very shortly. I needed to make sure it was clean. I'm using a brush to apply this. The brush is doing well, and it should be a stiff brush. This is very textured paste. What was getting frustrating for me was I wanted the texture of this paste. It is extremely. So I'm going to come in with my craft pick and just literally lay that down. I'm picking up a section of it from the container and then just laying it down onto the piece. I wanted to make sure the Santa's hat that the one snowman's wearing had that texture. I'm going to come in with a micron pen, a fine liner, and I'm just going into the indents in the die just to accent their eyes and their little mouth. I'm going to be using many of the embellishments that Scrappy Tails has. You get so much. Sorry for that noise, but you get so much in these, and there's mixtures. So the one pack is solid matte gold pearls in different sizes, and then in the other pack here you've got red pearl in different sizes, but then you have these white snowflakes that are in there, and she did that a lot with her embellishment mixes. There's different types of gems and pearls and other little tiny cute things that are in the pack. Also in that red pack are gems, iridescent gems. Filling up the tree so I can have decorations on that, and then yes, I'm adding snowflakes to the background because this is where I like a blizzard to be, on my card. I hope you enjoyed today's project featuring Scrappy Tails Crafts and all of their wonderful many products. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season, and we are about to bring in the new year. So I do wish each of you peace, joy, and wonderful things, wonderful events to happen in 2023. If you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe. We're going to have a lot of changes going on in the channel for 2023, and soon I will let you all know what they are going to be. As we go through the year, you'll see them. But most of all, remember, and it's always going to be important for me, guys, always be creative, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Happy New Year.